Hello and welcome to another Outrider Cup matchup. We're going to have Joe Olson on QMC versus Justin Silver Glen Branch on ISB. And the table is up, so the game should be starting here momentarily. And here we go. Currently, the U.S. holds a 4-2 lead. We will see. Obviously, it's a race to 7, so we'll see how this one shakes out. I will say there is division on the U.S. side on who's favored in this matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out and which build of ISB Justin is using. The build that I ran yesterday with the executor effect and lots of leaders and our collaboration to flood their sites in our testing ahead of Worlds did quite well against QMC, but Justin is playing the Imperial Square start with Imperial Rest Order, Established Control, and Imperial Enforcement. So I'm expecting this is going to be more similar to the list that Ryan Jellison and then Emil played. Ryan Jellison played at Worlds on day one. Emil played something similar at Euros. But we'll see. That deck was pulling the Shizor's Palace sites prior to the errata. Obviously, now that SSA has been errata, things are just a bit different. So we'll be interested to see what's in this ISB, what kind of space package he has. Given that it's not the executor package, I feel like this is going to probably favor Joe. Also, just bear with me. I've never done commentating solo, so I'll just be pontificating as we go. I've got an eye on the chat as well, so just if there's any issues with technology or you can't hear me, just let me know. All right, so first turn, Justin activates, pulls his grabber. Joe also pulls a grabber. We see Kurlag come out. My assumption here is Justin's just going to play another docking bay from deck and then draw some cards. He's trying to amass characters quickly. Notably, there's no Endor Shield start for Justin. So he likely has multiple Ozls and overloads, which probably aren't super useful in this matchup, but I could be wrong. All right, so he pulls a Battleground docking bay, which I was not anticipating, which means likely he activated his Executor docking bay or whichever docking bay suite he's running. And he just goes to draw. Now the question will be on Joe's turn. He's getting 8 force. Sometimes you see QMC go for a quick first turn flip. Depending on his hand, he may or may not do that. But against ISB, hiding at the 1-0 side is not nearly as preferable since basically every card in their deck is a spy. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Joe go a little bit cautiously on the first turn, maybe just set up Harkin Overseer and draw some cards, and then turn 2 probably go for the flip. It'll also allow him to get more sites out, most likely. I'd also like to see Joe just go ahead and pull the aim high shield. Everyone is familiar with story against me from a few years ago. Hopefully that is forever ingrained in his brain against ISB. All right, so we see the start of Joe's turn here. He seems to be thinking. So I wonder if he's debating if he's going to flash Hark this turn or not. And Justin notably also saved 3 force. I'm expecting his space package is either some combination of Mara and ship or potentially some Death Squadron assignments and some of the Star Destroyers that pulls. I'd be surprised if it was anything other than that. All right, so Joe deploys his first sight, the West Gallery. Notably, he did not flash Hark and Ship. So he also may just play some sights, draw a few cards. He's under no real obligation to go fast here. I see your comment, John, and that made me chuckle. For those that aren't aware, Sunday in Atlanta, after Brian Fred forgot to bring my set of poker chips when he left on Thursday to go up to the hotel, my wife came to join us for dinner Sunday, and I asked her, hey, please bring the poker chips. And she intended to bring them, and unfortunately she showed up with my backgammon set that is also in a carrying case. So easy mistake to make, but made it to where we were unable to play poker. We weren't willing to run back the post-it notes that the guys who were there on Thursday did. All right, so a lot of sites come out for Joe. Every site in his deck, I imagine. So he's going to be activating a hefty amount of force in turn 2. And as predicted, Joe just draws. So we'll see if Justin feels obligated to make the first move. I wouldn't be surprised to also see him activate, play a docking babe, and potentially just draw cards as well and wait to see what Joe does. So Justin's got 15 active, and here he comes down with Mara and Ship. Like to see him follow that up with a pilot, which I anticipate he will. So that's good that Joe waited on Hark. This is going to allow him on turn 2 to land at the docking bay and then retreat Hark in after flipping. And then probably he'll amass a bit more of a Space Force and go back to Bestman. All right, so we see another Battleground docking bay from Justin. Notably, yeah, if he does land, it'll probably give Justin a turn or two of cheaper deploy to Bestman. I imagine that Joe's going to try to piece together the wild card with Yoda that limits Justin to 1 Battle Destiny. You see, he loaded that with both Barrick and Oberk. So Barrick's text of subtracting from attrition and total power is live. Barrier, not typically a card that we see from ISB, but I guess it is a possibility. So we'll see if he's able to, if he has that and is able to lock Hark up in space. Does not appear to be the case. Carl asked in the chat where you put Tarkin in this matchup. If I were playing my build, I would just be looking to play Tarkin anywhere where I'm having an advantageous battle. The nice thing is that with the Dark Collaborations, you can cancel reacts away. So if they're trying to path, would not count for that, but it does just allow, it also cancels barrier. So you just have a lot of answers for their tricks in that deck. Hard to say what exactly is in the build Justin is running. So we see an Arcona come down. Not a card you see often in modern Star Wars. However, it is a very frustrating card to play against. This ISB may have a Lana Dobreed combo and maybe a Dark Collaboration or two. Given that he has the Troopers, it's hard to say how many leaders he'll have. So he may be challenged to stop this Arcona from reacting away from battles. Kira is just an alien. I think she has a species. Yes, she is a Corellian. Ostensibly, Joe is playing Ancient Watering Hole, so that gets him a species online along with the Arcona. It has a species as Arcona. All right, so we see Sand come down. that's a relief if you're on Joe's side. Just a nice insurance policy. Local defenses put that down as I'd say now it's become pretty common to see in QMC. It uploads an independent starship. It also can stop your ship from being captured or lost, or a non-Jedi character. So good protection against in-battle removal. And then worst case scenario, if they play a interrupt during battle, activate 2 forces, never bad. And then we also see a Where's Han stacked. So that may slow down Joe's ability to find Han True Falcon. And yeah, good point, Bill. The Dark Collab can cancel the Arcona React. TBD how many, if any, he's playing on Dark Collaboration. See Maz come down. And she immediately uses her text and reveals top 3. See what he hits. Nothing. He's getting Celebration live, which makes me think he has alternatives to fighting in hand. And he'll be sticking in space. He probably has alternatives to fighting in some sort of combination of barrier and path, and is just starting to go as wide as possible. And you see Joe pass turn with 5-4-7. All right, so turn 3 here for Justin. Let's see how he decides to navigate this. Typically, ISB, he's going to have to play at least 2 characters to a site. There's a few people that draw Ballast on their own. All right, so we see Master Move combo come out to cancel the Celebration. See if Joe is willing to grab this. And he does. And there's the aim high, so we won't run into that situation again. What I was saying is, so Justin likely, I mean, he has a few guys that draw on their own. I would expect he has a Vader. He probably has a Moff Gideon, Major Partagaz. I think those are like all of the, oh, Iceheart, also Yasena Sard. Those are probably all of the standalone ability for greater guys that he has. So the good thing for Joe is that he stayed in space and is not allowing Justin to deploy for cheaper across Cloud City. He's got 14 force to work with. While we're waiting to see what Justin does, just a reminder that the signups for the GEM PC end tomorrow. I think we're at over 110 players right now, which is incredible. Would be awesome to get to 128. We'll see if that's possible. And here comes Yasena Sard, as just mentioned. Notably to the drain canceling sites. However, where Joe is flipped, can't cancel drains where he has an alien. Here we see Sergeant Tarl. Let's see what friend he comes with. So he'll be power +2 this turn when deployed. Oh, it's Nambi. Notably, he does something with Spice Mines of Kessel. That a Utini effect is immune to alter, and Tarl adds 4 to force retrieve when completed. So maybe he's going to the Tom Hadewell and has a Spice Mines of Kessel build here. That would be pretty incredible to see. And here comes Ozzel to the party with Tarl. All right, so I anticipate we'll see an alternatives to fighting here in response to the battle in space. That does in fact happen. It's a very frustrating card to play against. And I anticipate Joe is playing 2 of them. I think the most recent builds have been. So it's possible he can just mill about in space until he has enough force to actually want to fight. And now we see Justin battle at the guest quarters against Maz. He's outpowered by 3. The nice thing for Justin is that the enforcement lets him battle for free. That's probably going to save him a lot of force over the course of this game. And it should help with his destiny drawing as well. The ability to take characters in the hand is very strong. In the build that I've been running frequently by the late game, if you have enforcement and Vanda layout, you're drawing multiple destinies. They're almost always 5s. So you can amass really high attrition and power just off of a few battle destiny. Bill in chat is saying he thinks this is a fairly bold battle for Justin. I think Justin probably feels like he's on the back foot and has to start applying pressure to have a chance. All right, so we see Joe take local defenses off sand and now play it to upload a ship. So we'll see, I'm sure the enforcement redraw this callus. Notably, independent operations, the flip side of QMC, makes all of Joe's aliens immune to less than 4, and then Maz also subtracts 1 from battle destiny. Oh, he couldn't redraw. He used sand. I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, so Maz will survive and Justin will lose a guy. So this is not a good battle for Justin. And then we have Iceheart staring down the Arcona, which I anticipate Joe will pay the force to move away as a react. And the question will be, does Justin have a canceller? Carl asked about the benefit of established control as a starting effect. I think, well, it's guaranteed activation. He's planning to pull, you see multiple battleground docking bays. So it can help with your activation. You saw, and if you watched my match yesterday against Kieran, ISB can struggle to activate against some decks. So it's not suspendable like mobilization points. It's just a guaranteed way to boost your activation. I think there's merit to either build. All right, so Ozzel moves into the upper plaza corridor, and now we see Justin start drawing. So overall, I would say that was a very good turn for Joe. Obviously not great to have your celebration canceled, but he was able to evade the battle in space, basically took no damage and killed a character at the guest quarters, and then the Arcona did its job. So if I was Joe, I'd be pleased. Right, so Joe's going to have 17 force to work with us on his turn, and the ability to get any card out of his force pile, as well as use mass to try to get another ship. So this could be a lot of different things could happen for Joe on this turn. Yeah, Joe pulled wild card. I think I missed that. It was just double checking. And obviously, yeah, I mean, Bill points out Justin must have a Gick. He would have consolidated Ozzel with him otherwise, but he has enough force to work with. He could potentially battle into Justin on both these sites. And with no celebration, depending on which line Joe wants to take, he might just run away in space until he's willing to go back there and fight. And we see him start pinging Drain. There's a Stormtrooper patrol. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a strategic reserves in this deck. And hmm. Lieutenant Paul goes off the top. followed by an Emperor, the new virtual Emperor. All right, so he's going to deploy the wild card. With Eller's Madak on board. And notably, the wild card adds to Destiny for each smuggler on board. So that's adding 1 to his total battle destiny, or is it total? Yes, total is +1. We'll see if he has any additional smugglers. Eller's also gives him a 4th species if he's able to find Watering Hole. He's getting a destiny to power off Hark. And now we see Joe think for a minute. I wonder if he's debating balancing attacking on the ground versus in space. If he's able to knock off Isard, he can just pull simple tricks and not worry about the 1-0, but any guy that draws a Destiny can also just clear the Ozzel ostensibly. And so that's the route Joe opts for. Ray going to give him a hefty use pile, 9 cards. So Joe's really being able to cherry pick what he wants. This is one of the benefits of QMC. I think QMC overall is one of the better light sides right now. I just don't know the deck super well. If I felt better about my ability to pilot it, I think I would have played it at the Atlanta event. And it's one of my goals for this year, to get better with QMC. Let's see if he plays anything additional after pulling a card from used. For Dark, my goal is also to learn Agents of Black Sun. Those are 2 decks I just have not invested much time in. So Throdo and I have both made a pact to learn both of them. And yeah, there's plenty of people on the team, including Sam, who play a lot of QMC. It's just not a deck. I haven't piloted it in like over 10 years. The last time I can remember playing it at a tournament was 2012 Continentals. So it's been a long time for me. And there's something different about I watched a lot of the replays, so I have a general sense of what to do, but until I actually play a deck a few times, I don't feel comfortable piloting it in a tournament, that's for sure. All right, so Joe drew the bottom part of his deck, or force pile, excuse me, with Ray, and now he goes into his battle phase. Ray's going to knock out Ozzel here. I guess he could have a react. Yeah, he had saved up 3 force multiple turns, so the patrol is not too surprising given that. And I was about to say, I wouldn't be shocked to see Joe Barrier. This should help him keep Ray alive. And clear Ozzel, which is going to force Justin to either commit more resources there at the 1-0 or play something else and then move Ozzel away. And the problem with committing more guys is Joe probably has a path, so he can easily leave that site before taking any damage and potentially losing his Ray. Overall, this is shaping up nicely for Joe at the moment, in my opinion. Justin, there's a comment in the chat that they're surprised there wasn't a grab. Justin wouldn't have had the force to spend. He used all 3 of his force on the reacting Stormtrooper patrol. Kira moves over in front of the patrol, and then Ray moves out in front of ice art. So Joe's just going as wide as possible, relying on his tricks, forcing Justin to play more cards. And Joe will peek at his 4-card force pile and take whatever he wants in hand. And Justin's working with 14 force and an 8-card hand. So not a ton of resources. 8 cards is fewer than I'm sure he would like. He obviously felt like he had to leave up the force for the patrol. All right, Colonel Wolf, my single favorite ISB agent, comes out. He'll activate him for force. I would have given my kingdom for one of him yesterday. I just love that he really, Dan asked why Uliran is my favorite. I just think he really is the cog that makes the deck run. There are really explosive turns where you can play him, activate 4, drop a few more cards from your hand, play a Tarkin, draw up to 6 cards. So, like, if Justin has a couple of more cheap guys and can follow up with the Tarkin to replenish his hand, that's always nice. We see 6 force spent on a Stormtrooper garrison to come down to the 1-0, and the new Virtual Emperor goes to the West Gallery. But Justin's going to be running out of resources here quickly. So he's down to 4 cards in hand. He plays Callus in space, which will net him a card, but he's down to 4 cards with one active that he's going to have to probably pay to keep that garrison alive unless he battles for free against Hero, which 12-3 he probably will, but you've got to expect Joe's just going to run away. And so Callus needs another ISB agent to draw multiple Destiny. Barrick is not an ISB agent, but I believe Oberk is. Yes, he is. Oof. So that will at least Justin there is once he blows through sand is drawing 2 Valacine space plus the reduction from Barrick, but I wouldn't be surprised if Joe can live through that. Here comes the do or do not, which I think is a wise pull with the Emperor out there. Battle into Kira. I expect we'll see a Path of Least Resistance. Trooper Assault here from Justin. Gets him up to 16 power. So if Joe doesn't have a path and or a Hujix, this could be a decent amount of overflow. So we'll see. I'm waiting for Joe to respond. Here is only forfeit 3. So he's down by 13 before Battle Destiny. Justin is not getting a Battle Destiny. All right, so here's the path, as expected. I think moving away makes more sense. The guys are immune and very powerful. Right, so Ray is only immune to less than 3, so odds are she is going to die here. Wow. Maybe not. Unfortunate luck there for Justin. And then we see a 5, which becomes a 6 with Ray. So he'll clear one of the 2 characters, probably Laren. Wolf hits the bin. And Justin now finishes with the battle in space. And Joe has the second alternatives. And Justin's down to 1 force. So he's going to start next turn with a 4-card hand and not great board position. All right, Joe starts his turn off with Maz. This feels like it could be quite a good turn for Joe. He's going to have 18 force. He's going to drain for 2. You got Yoxget V into hand, which lets him redraw aliens or independent starships if they're drawn for Destiny. Once per turn, take it into hand to cancel and redraw. Keep his number of guys going. Yoxget, I believe, also has a species, which would 1, 2, 3, 4 would bring Watering Hole online if and when Joe finds it. With Justin having such a small hand, I wouldn't be shocked if Joe is able to get Watering Hole this turn, if he goes to some of the docking bays just to threaten a ton of damage on the next turn. Yeah, if he doesn't have it, he has to have a target in his hand to refill. He may or may not. Like he hasn't drawn that many cards this game, so he probably does have one, but it's possible he won't. If he doesn't, Justin will be in a tough spot. Paul Treatum goes off the top again, and Maz drains to the guest quarters and snags an Ancient Callus. And Joe draws a card with Ray. He searches Force Pile. He hit a card with Maz, so Joe's up to 8 cards in hand. Probably a lot of choices. All right, Lando comes down. Along with Jar Jar. And so and Yoxkit. So this could actually end up being a decent beatdown for Joe, assuming if Jar Jar hits and then Lando hits, he's going to be in pretty good shape. And Yoda comes up in space, which makes it so both players only draw 1 Battle Destiny. Joe's going to be adding 1 to his with Elors. Justin will be subtracting with the Biker Scouts, but that really gives Joe a pretty good foothold in space. It's going to be hard for Justin to fight through that. And now we see the battle. So depending on how this goes, I mean, this might be a good game. Jar Jar goes to blow up the garrison, and I believe that's a hit. Oh, I forget. I was thinking of a different card. Justin also gets to draw. Oh, so that's going to whiff. For Joe, the good news here is, well, it's definitely not good game on Justin's end, but he's not drawing a Val Destiny, and so Joe, assuming he hits here, should be able to clear both of his guys, and he misses. I've had a lot of suboptimal Destiny draws. He misses, but he can redraw with Yoxkit. I wasn't thinking that. So we'll see if he hits on the second. And I believe he does. The Stormtrooper Garrison is only armor 3. So he is hit and forfeit 0. And Joe draws a barriers of 4. So he's at 13 plus whatever this is. 4 as well. So 17 to 12. So it's going to be those two guys in 1. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him just move all of those guys in front of the Emperor and or Iceheart. Like, he's probably going to split up his forces just to reinforce a bit. He may leave the Yoxkit there. He's obviously a bit exposed given the number of spies Justin has. But depending on his hand, he may just be trying to bait him to using resources there and then path away. All right, so he does decide to move the Yoxkit. And then he passes back the turn. We'll see if Justin does have a Tarkin or not. He's doing no damage at the moment in a small hand. So the tempo here is very much in Joe's favor. But just not 16 force to work with. If he has Tarkin and another Wolf, he could potentially play a decent number of guys this turn. A reminder also, the OCS kicks off February 1st. So if you haven't signed up, the season pass and February registration, I believe, are available in the store on the PC site. So you should jump in. It's $50 for the season. Great way to keep your Star Wars skills up. 12 competitive games a month. It's super fun. So I encourage everybody to sign up for the OCS if you haven't. And again, I'll remind, tomorrow's the last day of signups for the Game PC. We have the India Eclipse Major coming up the first weekend in April. I have done a complete 180 in the last few weeks where I was not planning to attend that event, and my wife has since said, you should go. And I'm not going to question that. So I booked my flight, and I will be there for the Eclipse Major. I'm excited, looking forward to that. Yeah, I see in the chat Justin saying, I feel like our commentator felt an ISB snowball. Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, you can just not draw the pieces in the right order. And I think this build in particular is going to struggle against this QMC in the long run. So uphill battle for Justin, and some things that probably haven't gone his way, or not the way he wanted, at least. I wonder if Justin's thinking, do I have a way? Is this worth continuing to play given his comment? Which makes me think he might not have the Tarkin. All right, here comes Dedra. She's a really cool card. If you haven't played much with the ISB Executor build, she really lets you filter good cards back in your deck, like putting back fives, and the ability to make things cheap really does actually come in handy frequently, and you can put things down on both turns. So in match play, she's sort of nice in that she can help you with your differential if you're in a winning position. We see a not within sight or reach. So ordering players, this uploads a Thrawn, or during battle, players may not draw power or attrition destinies. So that'll knock out Joe's Destiny to Power on Overseer. You see Joe comment in chat, I totally knew that card existed and did that. This is the first time I've seen this card played. This is one of the new Set 23 preview cards. It also has a loss function that once per game, if opponent has deployed 2 systems and no battleground sites, or a system is liberated, deploy Dreadnought from outside your deck, deploy -3. So it gives some decks access to a ship from underneath your starting effect, which I think is a pretty cool mechanic, and it's fairly balanced since the Dreadnought is not a force to be reckoned with on its own. And Justin saying in chat that his only chance to win in his testing was if Joe were to have played Hark in turn 1, and no reason Joe saw to go fast, and he took his time and went turn 2 and had both alternatives quickly and was able to just stay in space. I think we'll see Yax get redraw this. No, he can't. I guess he could have, but he did not. Does Yoda stop that? May not be modified or canceled. So yes, he cannot have redrawn. And Joe is agreeing with Justin in chat that he was afraid Hark would get beat up, so he waited till turn 2. So Joe ends up with no attrition because of Barrick, and he has to satisfy 5 attrition here. I would anticipate we'll see Elors hit the bin. And we see the concession from Justin. So that's another notch for Team USA. The current standings then get it to USA 5, Europe 2. I believe there are 3 or 4 games tomorrow. I know that I am playing tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern versus Kuhn, who's playing Map. Let me pull up the rest of the games just so I can make sure everyone knows what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Greg Shaw versus Cedric at 11:30 Eastern. We have, as I mentioned, myself versus Kuhn tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. And 26. That looks like it for tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. Justin Branch versus Brian Fred tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. So 3 Outrider Cup games tomorrow to look forward to. And we'll see how it goes. I've been really enjoying this event. High-level competition. A lot of fun being on the team with everybody. And we'll look forward to seeing how the rest of the matches shake out. Thanks, everybody.